One. Welcome everyone. This is Brother Doug with the Wagon by Yahuwah Assembly. I got my sister Shoshana here, right to my right, and we got Brother Dennis around the corner right here, and our sister Sally. And we are going to be doing an interesting study today. It's going to be called, have you ever wondered if the Nephillim are still with us today? Question mark. And the giants are still here, and we have proof. So basically, that is going to be the title. So we're first going to go into a verse that is kind of foundational for this study that we're going to jump into, which is Genesis chapter 6, verses 1 to 4. And we are going to be starting there, and then my sister Shoshana, following that, is actually going to give a witness account of the proof we have. So first we're going to go to the beginning and how they got here. So basically, what was the cause of these giants, these Nephillim, also known as? All right, so Genesis chapter 6, 1 to 4. Let me get my mind series. Genesis 6, 1 to 4. It happened when men began to multiply on the surface of the ground and the face of the earth, and daughters were born to them, that Yahuwah's sons saw that men's daughters were beautiful, and they took for themselves wives of all they chose. Yahuwah said, "My spirit will not remain in humankind forever, since he is indeed flesh, yet his days will be 120 years. The giants, or commonly known as Nephilim, were in the earth in those days, and also after that, when Yahuwah's sons came into men's daughters, they bore children to them. Those were the heroes who were of old, men of renown." So they were the mighty warriors of ancient times. And you might even know them by the names of Hercules, Dionysus, and all that in Greek mythology. So that's going to be our introduction. And I'm going to let my sister Shoshana actually take the floor for her account, that she has an eyewitness account. And also, we'll be sharing to you also after her.
I know you probably couldn't hear me from over there, so I'm getting closer to the mic. Several years ago, when the Sasquatch Genome Project was first organized by Melba Koechlin, I spoke with Melba Koechlin about this, and she admitted that the mitochondrial DNA, which is the female line of the DNA, was 100% human in Sasquatch. 100% human. And she said that the male DNA was completely unknown. There was no previous thing like it. It's completely unknown. But the mitochondrial is 100% human. And that's where we want to start off, because the Nephilim are half human, half angel, or Malachim.
You might want to tell them about that book that actually tells you
Enoch.
That the sons of Elohim, the sons of Yahuwah, they actually define them as angels, as Malachim.
Yes, it does.
Not the sons of Seth, as you're commonly told in cemetery school.
It will say in most translations of the Bible that these were merely sons of God, or sons of Elohim. No, these were a specific type of being called an angel or Malachim. And Enoch tells us that.
And just if you're skeptical and you haven't accepted Enoch yet, I'll give you a little proof here. Now, Job 1:6 in most of your Old Testaments will say sons of Elohim. Check this out in the Septuagint. Job 1:6, and it came to pass on a day that, behold, the angels of Yahuwah came to stand before Yahuwah, and the devil came with them. So Satan is among the angels of Yahuwah, and they presented themselves before Yahuwah. So in the Septuagint, most of the time when it says sons of Elohim in the Masoretic text, Old Testament, it will actually say in the Septuagint the angels of Yahuwah or the angels of Elohim. It actually will tell you who the sons of Elohim are. And the sons of Elohim, the reason they translate like that, Josephus in his own books wrote that it is a metaphor for angel. So when you see in the Old Testament all the time, like, you know, this one looks like a son of Elohim or a son of Yahuwah, it's specifically talking about heavenly messengers. It's not talking about humans. Humans in the Old Testament were never called sons of Elohim, just to get that out there. That title was never used for a human in the Old Testament. There's only one place, I was studying this last night, funny enough. I just wanted to bring this up real quick. I was studying this last night. 1 John chapter 1, 11 to 12 is the only place, really, you'll see in the New Testament where it's referring to humans. But I believe that's because there's a transformation in the resurrection, to put it plainly. And we're going to be like the Malachim. We're going to be similar to them. So that's why we're going to become a direct creation of Yahuwah. And that's the best way I can put it. The metaphor son of Elohim or son of Yahuwah means that you're a direct creation, a direct son or daughter of the Father. We are, right now, physically, we're not that. We are physically direct children of Adam and Eve, or Noah and his wife. Adam and Hua. We literally, physically, anyway, genetically, we are just direct descendants of human beings. We're sons and daughters of men. And as Genesis 6 says, you had sons of Elohim, one kind, daughters of men, or Adam, one kind. So you had the daughters of Adam cohabitating with a son of Yahuwah, which is not a human being. And so the Septuagint is really helpful. That's why I brought that out. The Septuagint actually says angel instead of son of Elohim. They'll actually let you know. So just wanted to bring that up. And I don't know if Dennis wanted to add anything about Melba Koechlin, if you have anything about that.
Oh, they just disqualified her because she was popping some bubbles, and they did not like that to be leaked out because they knew what was going on.
Yeah.
I hope y'all can be heard. That's the only reason I got up.
I think Dennis can definitely be heard. He was actually speaking very loud. But yeah, so please check out the Septuagint because that will help you when you're studying the term sons of Elohim in the Old Testament. And let's see here. So I think next we are going to go to her website, actually. I'm going to share with you guys. This is a website you can check out for yourselves. Don't believe whatever we're telling you. And let me just put this on share screen real quick. I believe that's it right there. Share computer sound. And right here, okay? So if you viewers can see this, this is the Sasquatch Genome Project.org. Okay, if you search for this, and I will be putting this up on YouTube when this study's loaded up, imported, I will be putting all of these links here, like this link especially. You'll be able to look up for yourself. What you really want to do is really look at this down here. You might have to zoom in a little bit on your computer. You might want to zoom in because the lettering is very small, but it will show you that it's Homo sapien, female. So I just wanted to say that. She gives you proof, basically, of her studies, why the female part is all human, but yet the male part, is unknown, like Sister Shushan said. So this is a good resource, though, just to prove that we're not just making this stuff up. So let me see here. Now we're going to go to...
You can't make this up.
So let's see here. Now, also, let's see. What I want to do next is I want to prove that there was scriptural. Now I'm going to go to the scriptural evidence that even in the days of King David, King Solomon, his son, Nephillim were coming back. So they did not utterly destroy all of them. Yahushua, son of Nun, did not utterly destroy all of them. Now I'm going to go first to, I think we'll go first to the commandment and kind of explain that to people that are foreign to this, why they were commanded to destroy them. It says, and when Yahuwah thy Elohim, Deuteronomy chapter 7, verses 1 to 2, when Yahuwah your Elohim shall bring you into the land in which you go to possess and shall remove great nations from before you, the Hittite, the Girgashite, the Amorite, the Canaanite, the Perizzite, the Hivite, the Yebusite, 7 nations more numerous and stronger than you, Yahuwah your Elohim shall deliver them into your hands. Then you shall smite them, then you shall utterly destroy them. You shall not make ooh, right?
Is that my phone?
Yeah, took off. Took off one
I didn't touch it.
Do not make a covenant with them, neither shall you pity them. Basically, don't show mercy. Now, this is tough for people that don't know the truth of this context, that don't know who the Girgashites, the Amorites, the Hittites, the Perizzites are. They were all Nephillim, all children of the fallen. These were giants that were genetically abominations to Yahuwah. That's part of the reason he sent the flood of Noah, just to give a little backstory. That is why he's telling his people to utterly destroy them, not even leave a woman or child. Okay, so these were abominations. They were not creations of Yahuwah. We can't stress that enough. I just want to go to the other cross-reference I have for this commandment as a second witness. Deuteronomy chapter 20, verses 16 to 17. And it says, Deuteronomy chapter 20, verse 16 to 17. And these you shall not take anything alive, but you shall surely curse them. The Hittite, the Amorite, the Canaanite, the Perizzite, the Hivite, the Yebusite, the Girgashite, as Yahuwah thy Elohim commanded you. So again, he's reiterating, like, you are to utterly destroy them. You should not leave them alive at all. Now, obviously, Yahuwah is not, a homicidal crazy person. Okay, Yahuwah is telling them to do this because of who these tribes are. What type of people are in these tribes? They're not normal humans.
Not meant to be.
They're not meant to be. They weren't created from the beginning. They were not in the Garden of Eden. These creatures, these monsters, can't stress that enough, monsters, came from something that was actually against Yahuwah's ordination of things. So please read the book of Enoch. That will help you to understand this stuff. It really helps you to understand why Yahuwah commanded them to utterly destroy them, because the Watchers were originally good angels. They did something that was bad. They were good Molochs. They did something that was bad. They were good Malachim. They became bad because they made a covenant to go into human women. They were not made to procreate. That was not Yahuwah's order of things. And Yahuwah punished them. And so even in the Greek, the Titans, what we know as Greek mythology, even though it's not mythology, the Titans were forced to kill one another. Yahuwah did that to punish the Watchers. So again, I just wanted to give some context on that. I want to move on to 2 Samuel chapter 5, because this talks about way after this, that they're still coming back, that they didn't do what Yahuwah commanded them to do. And let's see here. Verse 6. And David and his men, 2 Samuel chapter 5, verse 6, David and his men departed to Jerusalem, to the Yebusite that inhabited the land. So there's a Yebusite that inhabited Jerusalem at this point. And it was said to David, you shall not come in here. And let me change my translation because it gets weird. Some of the wording is weird in this verse. You will not come in here, but the blind and the lame will repel you, thinking David can't come in here. So meaning that he would have to destroy everyone, including the lame and the blind, to be able to get in there. So this is the reason I brought this out, though, is that it's showing that Jebusites were in Jerusalem at that point. And King David's way after the times of Yahushua, son of Nun. So we're talking about, a good while after the commandment to utterly destroy them. They're still coming back. So they failed. And I also wanted to just go 2 quick little cross-references in 1 Kings chapter 9, as we're going to fast forward to the times of his son, King Solomon, after David already passed away. And it's 1 Kings chapter 9, verse 16 we're going to start at. It says, Pharaoh, king of Egypt, had gone up and taken Gezer and burnt it with fire and slain the Canaanites who lived in the city, and given it for a portion to his daughter, Solomon's wife. So the king of Egypt, this Pharaoh, had to kill Canaanites that were still somehow either got back into the land or still were left over in Gezer, which I guess is part of the inheritance Yahuwah gave the Yasharites. So you still have Canaanites being left over at this point in time. And then as we fast forward in the same chapter, we're going to go to verse 20 to 21 here. It says, as for all the people who were left of the Amorites, the Hittites, the Perizzites, the Hivites, and the Jebusites, who were not of the children of Yashrael, then verse 21, their children who were left after them in the land, whom the children of Yashrael were not able to utterly destroy, of them Solomon conscripted or ordered for slave labor to this day. So at that time, it's showing that Solomon made them be his slaves, and even up to the day that whatever day it's referring of. So that seems like the giants have been around for a while now. Even in the times of Solomon and David, they were left over. They weren't totally destroyed by Yahushua, son of Nun, and Caleb, and the original Yasharites. So unfortunately, they were even in the land still at the time of King David and King Solomon. So I just want to show some scriptural proof that giants are here today. They have never been utterly removed from the earth.
Don't forget August.
Also, my sister Shoshana brought up an interesting point. Even in the days of Yahushua, son of Nun, they didn't do their job originally, even because in Deuteronomy chapter 3, verse 1, it says, then we turned and went up to the way to Bashan, and Og, king of Bashan, came up against us, he and all his people to battle at Edrei. And Yahuwah said to me, where does it say he was left over? Verse 11. Oh, okay. For only Og, king of Bashan, remained of the remnant of the Rephaim. Look, his bedstead was at the bedstead of iron. Isn't it in Rabbah of the children of Ammon, so the Ammonites? 9 cubits was its length. Ooh, this is interesting to add. And 4 cubits its breadth after the cubit of the man. So that is a huge bed.
13.5 feet by 18 feet long.
That's a cubit foot and a half.
Wow. 13 feet long, you said?
13 and a half.
13.5 by 18
Wow.
feet long. 18 feet long, 13.5 feet wide.
And then, wow, that is huge. And as you can see, back then they were a lot bigger. Now we're kind of getting giants that, like, you'll see around the times of David, Goliath, who was like, 8 feet tall, maybe? At most, I think he was very, he was like a midget compared to the original giants. The original Nephillim in the times of the Book of Enoch. The Book of Enoch talks about them being like 3,000 ells, whatever that equates to in our measurements. I mean,
I've heard people say 2 miles high. I don't necessarily believe it, but
I believe they were.
possible.
I believe they were as tall as the cedars of Lebanon. That's what
Yes.
I believe they were at least that tall.
As tall as the trees.
There's a place actually in Amos. Actually, yeah, I forgot. I can't believe I forgot about this one. This is the one Skiba always uses. Amos chapter 5, verse, I think 29. Let me see if that's correct. I know it's in chapter 5. Let me see. Talks about, I cut off the Amorite. He was as big as a cedar tree. I cut off the Amorite. No, Amos 2:9. All right, so Amos chapter 2, verse 9 talks about how big the Amorites were. And
Yeah,
it
I
says,
destroyed the Amorite before them, whose height was like the height of the cedars.
so we know that the Amorites at the least were as tall as a cedar tree. The cedars of Lebanon, they get pretty tall. They get pretty high up there.
And as strong as the cedars.
And it says, and he was as strong as the oaks. That's what mine says. Yet
Oaks. It did
I
say
destroyed
that.
his fruit up from above, his roots from beneath.
Mm-hmm.
Dang. Wow. So Amos 2:9 is a really good one to go to get an idea how tall they were. And honestly, I believe they were even higher than that, the original. I think there was their bloodline, I think, diluted genetically. There's actually a list of bloodlines. You can check out this book I want to cite. It's called The Bloodlines of the Illuminati. This gives you the kings of the earth that's spoken of in Revelations, the people in higher places that are controlled by the principalities according to Ephesians 6. These people are not normally human. They have that same type of blood. They might not be giants. They might not be like, Nephilim giants, but they have that same bloodline. What they look like is they look like you or me, but they're not 100% human. Like they have their eyes shift like reptilians. A lot of people call them the reptilians, the shapeshifters. If you listen to like David Icke or any of them, but basically they're half human, half angelic bloodline. It's this bloodline, and you can even trace it back. Gary Wayne has done a lot of research on this. I would urge you to check his stuff out. He talks about King Arthur's Round Table, the Knights of the Round Table, and how they were trying to keep a certain bloodline pure. They did not want to marry regular humans, most likely. They wanted to keep their satanic bloodline, like, literally pure. So, and that could be hinted to as, like, the bloodline of the seed of the serpent in a physical way. Because they did not want to intermarry with someone that's like us, someone that's completely human. They wouldn't want to dilute it because they're already diluted. They originally were giants, and now they're like us because so much intermarried. Actually, what is it called? It repressed that gene because there's a chromosome that makes them giants. Something switches off. They found this in the ligers. I remember research about the ligers, like when a tiger and a liger have like a
tiger and a lion.
Yeah.
Right? And it has to be a female tiger and a male lion.
Yeah, that's right. And there's a chromosome that switches off when you have that hybrid.
Yes, it's a chromosome that controls growth.
And so this growth chromosome, possibly from them intermarrying with regular humans, has been suppressed to the point where they're actually normal height relatively. Like, you see Andre the Giant and guys like that, they're only like 7 feet tall, but they are technically, it's weird that we're saying only 7 or 8 feet tall, but that's because the original Nephilim were like huge. They were called the Titans in Greek mythology for a reason.
You can't even imagine how big they were.
6 toes.
Like there's a reason in the book of Numbers.
Say that louder.
Go ahead.
I was going to say the original Nephilim also, the giants also had 6 toes and 6 fingers.
And some do and some don't now.
Yeah.
And some of their descendants who look totally human have those 6 toes. And to cite a couple of names, you got Holly Berry and Oprah Winfrey.
Elongated skulls, you can check that out for yourself, research it for yourself. The women, the wives of the pharaohs in ancient scriptural times even had elongated skulls. And actually, the museum we went to, which I want to list, in here in Georgia, near LJ, it's called the Bigfoot Museum. And
It's Expedition Bigfoot in Blue Ridge.
so in Blue Ridge, Georgia, you have the Bigfoot Expedition, which basically is like they set it up where they show you all this stuff. And I'm also going to show my pictures that we all took. Here in LJ, Georgia, there's double or triple the amount of sightings than in all the rest of Georgia. Like 17, I think, eyewitness of the green dots that were on that chart. So I'm going to be providing that photo on the comments section so you guys can check that out for yourself. You should check out that museum, though. Go to that museum. There's a lot of stuff. And they even had a little box of, like, the hand of the Bigfoot. And it actually said mingled with human DNA. So human Homo sapien DNA was found in the hand. And so there's proof out there that it's hybrids. That's what Bigfoots are. Yeah, they don't want you to know that it's Moloch DNA with human DNA. They want you.
Let me say this about Dr. Melba Koechlin. They have tried to discredit her work because it is proof that these creatures are 100% human in their mitochondrial DNA. That's a female side. And it totally would prove Genesis 6. Genesis 6 has been they've been trying to disprove Genesis 6 with the Seth theory and all kinds of garbage. But the truth is, it was angels who came down and made it with human women, and that's where we get the giants.
And the funny thing is, ancient aliens, I don't know if I mentioned this before, ancient aliens even admit that. They admit that there was a guy that, a brother of ours, Rob Skiba, was using footage from the Ancient Aliens TV show where they had a chart on the screen, and they were showing that sometime in human history our DNA changed. They admit that it was visitors from from a different realm that came and mixed their seed with the seed of man. So they understand that. The only problem is they think it's quote-unquote UFOs, so you want to be aware of that deception too. But the ancient aliens at least understand that if they were confronted about this Bigfoot issue, they would know what it is. They would not be claiming that it's an ape. They would not be claiming that it's a monkey. They would understand that it's a hybrid of some kind, and they would know that the only thing is they want to equate angels with, UFOs, which there is probably going to be an alien deception coming soon where, the fallen Molochs are going to say, hey, we're the aliens that created you. So that's part of the elite's agenda to make you think, that there's no such thing as angels or who are sane, but there's aliens. And so that's probably why this whole alien agenda has been pushed so much. They want you to think that they're going to come here.
And absolutely, whatever they try to tell you, there is no ape seed in a Nephillim. None whatsoever. It's 100% human on the female side and unknown, which is angel, on the male side. No, it's not. It's not the missing link, folks. This is what they're going to try to push. They're going to try to get you to think this is the missing link at some point. It's not. They are 100% human on one side and 100% angel on the other side.
Yeah, and just another proof is that in the museum they showed the elongated skull of the female Sasquatch. So you have history showing you that even in artifacts, ancient Egyptian artifacts, you had the Nephillim queens with elongated skulls. You compare that to the finds of this Bigfoot expedition, you put two and two together. Obviously it's not an ape. I mean, apes don't have elongated skulls in that type of way, like the way it looks. It's impossible. So they're trying to hide it up because they don't want you to know about that, because they don't want you to know the days of Noah. They don't want you to know what Matthew 24:37 is talking about. They don't want you to know that this could happen again. In Daniel chapter 2:43, it talks about that iron will mix with clay. And it says they, it's not talking about a kingdom. I know a lot of eschatological end times people want to say, oh, it's talking about two kingdoms mixing with the iron and the clay. No, it's saying they will mix themselves with the seed of men. And see, the elite don't want you to know what that's talking about. They don't want you to know that there's there's only two ways that can be interpreted. There's going to be a second incursion in the end times, or somehow the Nephilim are going to use technology for their spirits. There's only really two ways you can interpret that. Metal with clay, where the clay, metals, technology, transform, the Terminator. That's what I get from Daniel 2:43 is either you're going to see people become like Terminators, where they're mixing the seed of men, technology, or a second incursion. Humans.
Borg. You remember the Borg on Star Trek? This is where they're going. I kid you not. You can't make this up. This is where they're going. And they're trying to make people live forever their way by putting their consciousness into either a robotic human or a clone. A clone sleeve, they call them. These things they're available now. They are doing it now. It's not something of the 200 years down the road future. This is available now. And you can look on that website, what is it, 4545.com. You can see exactly what they're doing and what they plan for humanity.
Yep, so this is...
But we're digressing.
Yeah, as we digress here, I think that's as much as evidence as we can give you guys today. Like I said, I will be giving you guys the pictures on the comments section. Please check the comments section.
We do have photographs of the face of Bigfoot, and I want you to play that video right now, and then show the ones on Melba Koechlin's website
let me
as well.
See here.
And you can see how human
let me go
it
into
looks.
my Gmail right now and open it up. That way I don't have to search for it. Just bear with me, viewers. I'm doing something real quick. Shoshana Rogers, Bigfoot Caged. Open. So let me just make sure that we got the share screen on and the sound is on. Share screen. Here we go. And here we go. Let me just move. Oh yeah, before I play this video, I just wanted to give a little bit more information. Please check out the Holocaust of Giants. After some,
Timothy Alvarito.
I will be leaving you a link for that for anyone that's interested in purchasing that documentary they did. You can get it on Amazon Video. I forget how much it is. I think it's like maybe, what have you, $15, $20. But please don't do that until after sunset. Please, I beg you. But in all seriousness, at Amazon you can find it. What it shows is they actually talked to someone that knew the eyewitness that was in the U.S. military, went to Afghanistan, saw this red, hairy, Titan-sized giant that he drew a picture of it, and it's like, it was so huge it would be picking up like antelope and these full-size animals and like running at full speed.
Are you sure that's on Holocaust of Giants?
Yeah.
Because I'm positive that L.A. Marzulli had a video with that on it.
Yeah, I think it is on the Holocaust of Giants. I saw it.
L.A. Marzulli's, I'm sorry, but I don't remember it being on Holocaust, but you can check it out. It's definitely on L.A. Marzulli's website, where he interviewed one of the men who was part of the group that killed the giant. And now they figured out there were two giants because the one Steve Whale found out about, where he interviewed the pilot that took the giant away, was a little bit different date than the one that L.A. Marzulli found. But he found a man who was actually part of the military, who was part of the shooting team that killed this giant, and they had just come to the opening of a cave, and it was a massive cave, and this huge giant came out of the cave with a long spear and stabbed one of their men named Dan, and not just stabbed him, but went all the way through his body and held up the stick. It was gruesome. And at that point, the whole team started yelling, "Shoot it in the head," which they did, in the face, and managed to kill it. But I'm telling a different story. There are actually two stories, so there were two of them. L.A. Marzulli had one, and Steve Quayle had the other.
Yeah, I do remember seeing that on the Holocaust of Giants, where the guy was telling the story about the red-haired giant from Afghanistan. Actually, Now You See TV also talked about it on their channel one time. So, but anyway, yeah, please check that out. Check out L.A. Marzulli's site. Check out the Holocaust of Giants. And the Holocaust of Giants is very good for someone that's new to what we just talked about today. It shows you that the megalithic structures were built by giants, not by the Hebrew slaves, as we've been taught.
And it tells what happens to all these artifacts that are dug up. They're not on display anywhere in the museum. They're taken to the Vatican or to the Smithsonian, and who knows what happens to them at that point.
All right, so I think lastly right now, the only thing we have left is show you guys this footage, this eyewitness footage of this guy that caught a Sasquatch. So I'm going to click on this video right now. It's on share sound, so you guys should...
Look how big this motherfucker is.
Close attention to the face. They're human.
Look how big he is. Tell me that's real.
Yeah, you're rolling? Okay, this is it. We're gonna have to tranquilize the animal again so that I can safely go in and get some samples. I'll be taking blood, hair, and saliva so that we can compare to other sightings and establish a baseline genetic profile. Okay, so let's go.
Oh?
Yeah.
So you guys got the idea here. As Sister Shoshana said, the face was completely human, looked nothing like a monkey, okay? And people will try to say that because it's hairy and what have it, but another thing I wanted to bring up real quick was Esau. Funny enough, his name is white and hairy, red and hairy. I mean, that's the meaning of Esau. So, and Esau actually married Canaanite women. So, I just wanted to show that. And so it's very possible that something like that could even go back to Esau's lineage, because he there was one at the museum that was like had reddish hair. I think it was one.
Oh yeah, there's quite a few of them that got the red hair.
So yeah, so we just wanted to give you guys that video footage as also added proof that these things are real. Okay, so and they're living among us. So just hopefully this message, open your guys to stuff in scripture that you might not have thought was literal or applicable to modern day. And so hopefully this message will reach you guys. This is Brother Doug signing off with my sister Shoshana, my brother Dennis. Hope you guys have a great rest of your Sabbath. Any of our brothers and sisters out there. And our sister Sally who's been with us. Sister Sally, do you have anything to add before we go off?
No, not really. Just that I hope I don't run into one of those.
Yeah, and neither do us. If there's anyone that's came by this channel that has accepted Yahusha as your personal savior, I would pray today that you would, and that you would accept him and accept the free gift from the Father in your blood for eternal salvation. I wholeheartedly pray that, and I hope you read John 3:16 and understand that his free gift of salvation is for all those that want to accept him, accept his son, and be grafted into his family, to become a child of the Father. So thank you for tuning in today. Shalom.
Son.
Well,